Grok just went from calling itself Mecha Hitler, spilling Nazi propaganda everywhere, to becoming the state-of-the-art model, beating every single big company. I'm a bit late to the party, but as I'm recording this on July 27th, Grok 4 is still state-of-the-art on the most benchmarks, so it's good, it's exceeding OpenAI 3, Gemini 2.5 Pro, and Claude 4 Opus. I'm not going to give you all the numbers here, it's not the point. We want to figure out how that drama happened. It's so crazy to me that you make the best model that there is, and just a day before the glorious launch, you literally shoot yourself in the foot with a giant bazooka. So users discovered that Grok 3, the predecessor, started to generate anti-Semitic content when asked to, and they sort of jumped on it. And it wasn't just like one problematic response in a sea of million responses. No, the AI literally started calling itself Mecha Hitler, even when it was asked about its surname, as if, they just programmed its memory. So to understand the disaster, we need to dive a bit deeper into how these models are actually trained. And then you'll know why ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude are nice and polite, and they have much stronger guardrails than Grok. So there are 3 stages to creating a large language models. So the first stage, the foundation, is called pre-training. What it means is that companies take a large amount of internet data. Usually it is around 10 terabytes of text data, and it contains all of the useful knowledge that there is on the internet. So they run this data through clusters of thousands and thousands of GPUs for weeks, and this means that the model has condensed every single piece of information that might be valuable. And this is usually a very, very pricey process. So if you wanted to do this yourself, you are going to look into millions of dollars. So the thing learning all this is a neural network. And what's fascinating that it has a very simple job. It just has to predict what word comes next in a sequence of words. So take this sentence, for example. A cat jumped over the, and if we leave this blank, you probably guess that the next word is going to be dog. But even though this task is really simple, something remarkable can happen. As we interpret the data that it generates, it gives us the illusion that it has the correct knowledge of facts, of reasoning, and it can understand our grammar, and it also maybe has some common sense. But in fact, it's just a really high accuracy of predicting the next word in a sequence. That's all there is. After that, we're left with a base model, and it's not really useful yet. If you ask it a question, it's going to continue from a random question on the internet, and maybe it's from some blog, and it will try to generate what was next in that blog. That's not the behavior we want. We want it to be a helpful assistant. So how do we achieve that? That's the second stage. It's called supervised fine-tuning, which is teaching the AI to be helpful. Companies will usually hire some people to generate datasets of well-curated questions and answers to those questions. We're not adding any knowledge, we're just changing the format, and after that we should have a model that will answer our questions and not put up some random text. Then we have the final stage, which is RLHF, and it translates to reinforcement learning from human feedback. And this is the final polish that makes the model ready for use. This is mainly used for things that humans can't really create a good answer for. And what we're good at is judging which thing is better. So that's why we ask the model to generate a few outputs to a question, and the human will just pick which is the best one. And that's how we can sort of guide the model into being better at solving open-ended questions which don't have a strict and right answer. So a good example of this is if you ask the model to write a poem about something, well, you cannot create a great data set of poems, maybe new poems, and ask people to write a perfect poem, but you can ask the model to generate 1, 2, or 3, and the human can then decide which one was better, and then we will adjust the neural network to sort of generate more of this stuff than this stuff. This stage has a downside though, because the model might try to optimize its answers to satisfy what the humans want, and sometimes what the humans want might not be like optimal or helpful. So we have to keep that in mind. It's a final small stage that just points the model in the right direction. So now my question is, after all of this, do you have a clue what XAI did wrong with Grok? So as I said, most companies start with a very clean dataset that has no junk at all, but Elon Musk had a different idea for Grok. He wanted it to be anti-woke and politically incorrect, but factually true. And he seems to have achieved too much of this anti-wokeness. My guess is that XAI used tons of Twitter data on training Grok 3, and as we all know, X is absolutely flooded with hate speech and propaganda and conspiracy theories and all of that. And yeah, you can guess that if you put all of that into a model, it's going to have some of those behaviors built in. So the popular saying, garbage in, garbage out, it's perfect here. And it gets worse because there is one more guardrail at the end called the system prompt. And this is something that you can change over the API, but you can't change in the app itself. When you go to grok.com or ChatGPT, you can't change the system prompt there. And this is like the final instruction before you as the user take the lead. And as I cite, there was a line there called "not shy away from making claims which are politically incorrect as long as they are well substantiated." So they literally pointed the model to just, go and say crazy stuff, use hate speech, make controversial theories. Yeah, we don't care. Isn't it crazy? Some people thought that it was a hack or an error, but it wasn't. It was just the system working perfectly as designed. What's crazy and sad though is how much toxic data there is out there. I mean, it's literally all us. It came from us because we didn't generate all that hate with a model. It was us humans who wrote all the controversial topics, who put out all the hate, and yeah, then there stuff like this happen. And on that same day that the whole Mega Hitler drama happened, ex-CEO resigned and some engineers left to other companies. So not the greatest day for Elon Musk, I must say. Now, despite all of this chaos, they still have Grok 4, the best model. I think the first few days it still would refer to itself like Mega Hitler. I'm not sure if they fixed it or not, but I think they did. They did update the system prompt, so maybe occasionally it would hallucinate, but hopefully it's fixed now. And yeah, it's fascinating that it has the greatest reasoning capabilities and it has tons of Nazi propaganda built in. And yeah, some crazy theory I read was that coming up with all these theories and hate would enhance somehow its reasoning capabilities. I know if that's true, we may never know if that's true or if there is a correlation. But anyways, I think it's really interesting. And yeah, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.